you want to go? Go to a place. I want to go. Go to a place. Do you want to go? Go to a place. I want to go. Go to a place. I can take you there. I can take you there. Do you want to go? Go to a place. I can take you there. Say there. Do you want to go? Go to a place. Search far and wide by your side. Far and wide by your side. Search far and wide.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am TJ Randolph and welcome to Mosaic with TJ Randolph, where I am a work of art made of many broken pieces. Thank you for stopping by and spending a little bit of your Friday Eve with me. This, I think, is the first cocktails and conversations I have had since the new year. I used to do them pretty much every Monday, but kind of fell off. But I was inspired to do a cocktails and conversations with this particular gentleman because I think he has a really interesting story to tell. And I want y'all to, I want it to be unveiled with you. So before we get into that, you know how I have to do the announcements. Shout out to my baby, my hardworking trucker man, and all the truckers traveling these highways and the byways, bringing us our much needed goods and keeping the supply chain going. Shout out to my firstborn nephew, Ryan Spunk Adams, whose song Now is on the intro. You can follow him on all streaming platforms. Follow him on Apple Music, but also on Instagram under I Am Spunk. Shout out to my niecey Poo Lucky Marie, who put together the intro that I absolutely love. I have another commercial that I'm putting together right now, but I just want to show you all before I bring my special guest, and I want to show you all what's on the horizon. For those who are in the DFW area, my fruit, also known as Danny, has launched a new venture. It's charcuterie boards. And with that, I'm going to share this with you, some of the things she's doing. Follow her on Instagram under the Grazing Queen. And I'm going to show you some of her unique designs really quickly. Yes, do you see this? Do you see this? Yes, do you see this? Okay, that's one. Another one she did for Valentine's Day. The charcuterie boards. Okay, the Grazing Queen. Follow her on IG. If you're in the DFW, she can make a special charcuterie board for you, your special occasion. That's another one. Let's see what else we got here. Charcuterie boxes. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. So so follow her on Instagram. She is the Grazing Queen to put together your charcuterie for your special occasion. She is my fruit, also known as my daughter, Danny B. Let's see, I got it. Just one more. Another one, putting together the charcuterie platter. All right. Yes. So, what I'm drinking tonight, I went very simple. I'm drinking a raspberry Bellini. I did not make this one. I went the cheap route and got one at the grocery store and just added my own raspberries to it. Please hit the like button. Shout out to my favorite, well, all my mods are favorite, but one of the hardest working mods in this thing is RM. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, this young man here, what inspired me to reach out to him is, like a lot of employers, a lot of times when you apply for jobs nowadays, they don't just take your application. They are looking at your social media, and in so doing, they're finding out, okay, should this person represent our organization? What matters to them? What's important to them, and that is what I saw, and that's what prompted me to reach out to this young man. So without further ado, I want to welcome to the stage Mr. Tommy B. Hey,
Can you hear me? Because I just plugged it all in, so I don't know if I'm good or not.
I can hear you. Yes, I can. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you have a cocktail? I know you just got off work.
I got some water. I got the kids with me, so I got some
Okay.
water. I can't be. You feel me?
Okay. See that? Okay, that is why we're talking about it, because again, you got your kids with you. So before we get into it, do you know why I wanted to do this cocktails and conversations with you?
No idea.
No idea?
Uh,
Okay. I don't know. We met over a year ago on these
yeah.
YouTube platforms,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that you were from California.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that you were a truck driver, I think, until later.
Uh,
But one of the things that really impressed me about you was you don't pull any punches.
no.
You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
What it is what it is. You're going to say it, deal with it. You're not going to be nasty. You
Yeah.
can be, but generally don't. But you're very down to earth. You're very forthright. You are a good, hardworking man. That's what I gleaned from it. But
Mm-hmm.
what prompted the video is this. I'm gonna share this real quick. This is what prompted the stream. This picture, this picture right here. Okay. Tell us about this picture. What was this about?
I was at work, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I was at work, and I was bored. But it's kind of a So like growing up, um, I messed around in the streets a little bit. I tell people like I don't sit here and try to act like I was Nino Brown or nothing crazy or whatever. But I grew up around those types.
Mhm.
It's people that I'm close to that they've made documentaries about. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I've been around like some big people in those situations. One thing that I've seen, the older we've grown up, even with these guys, is that we're all pushing each other to get away from that, and especially our kids. I got a lot of friends, unfortunately, that I grew up with that are locked up, and I'll just say through ways they contact me on Instagram, and you know when they hit me up, they're always telling me like, hey, bro, make sure your son don't, go through the stuff that we went through. Make sure he don't, you know, um, make some of the mistakes we make and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
so a big part of it was, I feel like in this culture, it's a lot of people that are looking down on people that got like 9 to 5s. And it's a lot of people that are going for the fast money, the scamming, whatever they think they can get to it fast.
Mhm.
Um, I don't talk about what I make, um, because when you make a certain amount of money, you know what comes with that. Hey, can I borrow some money? And look, I'm broke. You feel
Right,
me?
right, right.
But what I do tell people if they interested is I've been driving for 13 years. I have no tickets, no accidents. You can look up what that makes in my industry, and
Yes.
you can figure out what I make. So one thing that I do is a lot of my friends that are locked up, and including my older brother, who I'm setting him up right now. Hopefully, he'll be free next year.
Okay.
Is I set them up with, hey man, go to truck school, And because I've been driving for 13 years, I have relationships and connections, in the industry. I make it. I only suggest it to them. After
Right.
that, it's no more conversation for me because you
Right.
have to show me your intent first, or the initiative first, for me to put my neck out on the line. And
Absolutely.
so, I hear a lot of the guys in these space talk about what they do for the community and stuff like that. I personally, I don't speak about it, and to be honest with you, I don't even necessarily even look at it that way, because it's helping people out. I have multiple people, whether I know them or not, hit my inbox about truck driving. Hey, you know any jobs? Can you hook me up? Yada yada yada. So through those 13 years, it's a lot of people feeding their families off of me putting them in positions and stuff. And I'm not talking, $45,000 a year jobs. I'm talking, I know people that make more money than me that I put in, in positions and stuff. And for me, I'm not no, what they would call a hating person. I
Right.
congratulate you. You know what I'm saying? You did your thing.
Right.
Because I limit myself because of my kids. I would rather make a little bit less and be with my kids more than to full fledged be into this and make the real bag that I could make. But so yeah, this picture was more just kind of so the caption is a rap verse from Rick Ross. And so he had a situation when he started rapping where everybody found out that, hey, you wasn't a drug dealer, you was actually a CO. And so at first he started denying it. And then when pictures and real evidence came out about it, he finally had to admit to it. So the
You mean a
verdict,
corrections officer?
he was a corrections officer, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So after it kind of came out and he kind of accepted it and kind of like, yeah, I did that. I had kids, I had to feed them. That was the verse. Can't criticize N words, trying to get jobs. Better get smart, young brother, live yours. Only live once. I got 3 kids, and for me, and for them, I'll get 2 gigs. And the next line was, um, what was it? I'll shovel shit. I'll CEO just to break bread and bring home the meatloaf or something like that. But basically saying I'll do whatever I have to do to feed my kids or whatever.
That's right. That's right.
Um, so that's kind of where that caption came from, was from that line. Girl, she always got to be on camera. um, But yeah, so that's where that line came from. That's just kind of where that picture came from. It was how we was. I'm at a new job, so they quote unquote training me. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that was just I just, like I said, I was bored. I took a picture and then I just thought of a caption for it. That's all it was.
Well, the reason why I like the caption is because, again, you and I have talked about the fact that, my husband's been a truck driver for
Mhm.
over 30 years.
Yeah,
And you said you've been at 13 years,
yeah,
no tickets, no accidents.
mhm,
He's been over 30, no tickets, no accidents.
yeah.
So, you and I were talking about, because my baby's thinking about doing something different. And he
Mhm,
asked me, he said, how would you, what do you think if I, say I want what their top drivers make?
mhm.
I said, talk your stuff
Yeah,
because you work that.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have.
So, but and also to that verse, I mean, I never heard the song, but
Mhm,
my husband said, he was a young father like yourself, but
mhm,
he was actually younger than you.
mhm,
And his first job when he was a young father, he was working at Wendy's,
mhm,
and he was taking on extra shifts, but he
mhm,
worked that job with intention. And he said that a man that either only has responsibility for himself, but especially if he has a family, is 24 hours in a day.
mhm.
He can work 16 of them
Oh,
to
100%.
to
Yeah.
do what you need to do for your family. So again, I was struck by that. So I'm gonna ask a question.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna ask you a question. We're gonna get started on this thing, and I want to ask you a question. Hold on just a second.
All right.
Just a minute. I thought I was gonna be ready. Struggle stream and help work. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm trying to get this thing together. Okay. How do I share this? Present screen. Present screen. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Who is Tommy B? Who's Tommy B?
A father first. Um, my kids come before everything. I tell people all the time, I wouldn't even be in California if I didn't have kids. Um, I'd be living a far better life. Trust me, outside of California, making the money I make.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't leave my babies. Like that's my life now is I go to work and I come home to them. You know what I'm saying? And luckily, with all of their, I have two BMs. I call them mother of my kids, but I have
Right.
two, and I have good relationships with both of them. No child support, no bickering, no back and forth. I get my kids whenever I want to. And I have them a lot. I have my two youngest every day for the most part. I get every other, not even every other weekend off now. It's damn near every day now. And I get my oldest on the weekends, any holiday, spring breaks and stuff like that. And I get her for the whole summer. But my kids, man, I love kids. I've always loved kids. I'm a big kid at heart. So and I'm a super, like, when I tell people I'm an active father, like, I'm active. Like, when we go to, like, the little it's a place I call Love to Play with the little tunnels and stuff. I'm 6'4" and I'm crawling through them things. You feel me? Like, I'm
Yeah.
active, you know what I'm saying? We outside, I'm throwing the football with my son, I'm pushing swings, like, I'm active. Even in the house, I'm giving horseback rides, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, they bring me peace because I went through some stuff that after I went through therapy, I found that was traumatic, and they kind of center me, and they show me, like, the innocence of humans. Like, once you've seen the other side of humans, you kind of need that yin and yang. And so to see them and see, even when they make mistakes, it's so innocent. Um, it kind of it balances me. I've been diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So they actually help and hurt that sometimes. I ain't gonna lie, the anxiety, like control and stuff all over stuff. But no, but they help me because they're innocent. Even like my oldest is 11, and,
Mhm.
like, she's the sweetest kid I could have ever asked for. If she asks me for something and I can't get it for her at the time, it's not a temper tantrum. It's okay, Dad, we'll get it later. You know what I'm saying? You don't even get adults that come at you like that. You know what
You
I'm saying?
sure right about it.
Yeah. And then, and my two youngest, they drive me up the wall. But
How old are
again,
they?
uh 2 and 3. But yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah, whew, man.
Ooh.
Ooh, give me some help.
Yeah.
But nah, they, it's just like their innocence. Like, when my daughter knows she's in trouble and she comes gives me a kiss or whatever, or when my son knows he does something good and he comes gives me a hug and stuff. Like, it centers me because, like, when you've seen, like I said, when you've seen some of the stuff that I've seen and been through some of the stuff I've been through, you kind of lose faith in humans,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't want to say it's lose faith in humans, but it's kind of like, it's like opening this Pandora's box. What people are capable of. And so, for me, I would say, I'm a father. Uh, with that comes, hard working. I'm multi-layered. I try to, I'm easygoing. I try to be the best person I can be. I try to be as empathetic I can be. Um, but and I just try to stay out the way, to be honest with you, man. I just try to, you know, oh, and I'm vice president of a motorcycle club. You feel me? All right, throw that in there.
Okay, see, that's the bad boy side right there. That's
Yeah,
the bad boy side right there.
that's where I get to, get a little bit of that release off there. You feel me?
Yeah,
But
that's the bad boy side right there because I did see you in a picture too. What was it, AR that you had?
yeah, that's actually the well, no, that was a Draco. The
Okay.
club went out to it's in Nevada. It's called Reno, and you can kind of go out to, out in the middle of nowhere and shoot off a little bit. So we went out there and had a little fun and shot some of our guns off and stuff. But yeah, it's I would say that I'm starting to get back into church. I got out of church a long time ago.
Hmm.
Last year I had a really rough year. Um, And I've always told people, even when I was out of church, like, or not into it, that I still went to church every once in a while because I've never left church feeling bad. I always felt good after I left church, whether I was agreeing with everything or not.
Right.
I've never left church and just felt bad. So, kind of trying to reconnect as far as like spiritually, and kind of find myself in that situation. But I would say altogether though, I'm a good guy, man. Like I don't try to mess with nobody. I just try to stay out the way. That's it.
And I see that. And let me ask you this: you say that you try to stay out of the way and don't mess with nobody, and seeing your children, reinforces the innocence.
Mhm.
What that juxtaposed to what you see when you come to YouTube?
Yeah.
What what are your thoughts about what you see when you saw? Well, first of all, before you answer, what brought you to YouTube first?
So initially, I was on YouTube for stocks. I actually learned how to trade stocks on YouTube. So as a truck driver, I don't know, most people don't know this, but truck drivers, what we do a lot of the times when we're in the truck is we listen to podcasts, we listen to audiobooks or music. And so what I did, stop. What I did one day is I went to YouTube and I put, thank you, good job. I
I
put
love it.
trading stocks 101, and I learned how to trade stocks. And so
Mhm.
that's where I started. Now, what brought me to this interesting part of YouTube is your
Yeah.
good friend Kevin Samuels.
Okay. Okay.
He went viral. Started watching his videos. Started agreeing with some of his videos. Um, and then all of a sudden, you know how the algorithm did what the algorithm did, and I ended up running into Anton. Started messing around with his channel a little bit. And from there, found friends in this space, and I mean, been in and out of here ever since. Pretty much. It's just it's weird because it's like it's almost like you take a pill, like the Matrix type thing, and then you find out that this world exists. Because
Yeah.
like if I go talk to my sister, this world doesn't exist to her. The guy that I'm training with in my truck, this world doesn't exist to him. And
Right.
I tell a lot of people that even with like the Kevin Samuels thing, I'm like, as big as Kevin Samuels is, do you understand? I can walk down the street and 7 out of 8 of my neighbors couldn't even tell you who Kevin Samuels was.
Yes.
You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
he's not as big as what a lot of people in this space think he is. It's like once you're in this space, it's like I said, it's like popping the pill. So yeah, in this space, it's like, wait, you don't know who Kevin Samuels is? But outside of this space, everybody be like, who is that? And so as him being the biggest,
Right.
when you go from him down, that's what makes it funny when you see people in this space and like the egos, because it's like, wait a minute, if I know people who don't know who he is, they damn sure don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but that's what ended up bringing me to this space though.
Now, with that, you make a good point. So, do you find, and I would agree with you, that was a good way to put it. Like you took a pill and you're in this world, this bubble,
Yeah,
because again, I talk, my husband's like, what?
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
what? And, my mom, everybody's like, what? But
Yeah,
it's like, it truly is, it's like it's a world all on its own.
yeah,
And sometimes I think people confuse this with the world at large,
yes,
and they make
100%,
it, and or they make this their world,
100%.
forgetting that there's actually a life outside of it. So that brings me to my next slide here.
Mhm.
All right, so about that one, who this?
That's Junior. That's my number two. Whew, that's a lot of people's worst nightmare. That's me all over again. Like
Is it?
he acts just like me. He is literally like even my mom and dad. When I get on them, they be like, "Well, that's just you all over again." And look, I even joked to people and said I had to go apologize to my parents for what he put me through because I know just by what he puts me through, I know what I put them through because it's hilarious when I watch him do some things. Sometimes it's hard for me to get mad because I look at it and be like, I get why you did that because I would have did that. Like I'm so serious. Like so. But that's my guy, man. I love that dude to pieces, man. He again, like he just the innocence, man. It's just and I think it's a part of me that wish I can go back to that. Um, just
Yeah.
because you see the peace that they have. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? That's one thing I love about kids. Like, yeah, I tell people, man, when I take them to the park, they don't care what race you are. Let's go play.
You know
Period.
what? It's
You know what I'm
funny
saying?
that you say that. It's funny you said it because I remember when my daughter was about, she may be a little bit older than your son. I'll
Mhm.
say about 4 or 5.
Okay.
And she went to this daycare. And it was interesting how she described her friends.
Mhm.
She never described them in terms of skin color.
Yeah, yeah.
She described them, so and so has red hair,
Yep.
blue eyes, never the white or black.
Exactly.
Also has black hair,
Yep.
brown eyes. And it's not until you become an adult that,
Yep.
or not even an adult, a middle schooler, that's when
Well,
it
yeah.
starts
Yeah.
to, you start to see. But exactly, you're talking about, this is an instance, you want to play, let's go play. That's
Yep.
all I care about.
That's
And
it.
the reason why I'm bringing this up, because it goes back to who you are. And ladies, if y'all listening, are you single?
I am. I
Okay.
am.
All right. And
Uh,
so the reason why I'm bringing this up, because you are what many women say they want.
yeah.
You are a hardworking man. That's
Yeah.
another reason I want to bring this up.
Yeah.
What I want to interview you, because you have a serious work ethic. Where'd you get that from?
My dad, 100%. My dad was a construction worker. He's a general contractor now. Watching him. So, what I tell people is he's the very reason why I was only like 1 foot in the streets. And he getting older, he shows me the importance of having a dad there. If it
Mm,
wasn't for my dad, we 100% wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And I love my mom to death. My mom was dope. All of
mm,
these bad moms that they talk about wasn't my mom. My mom was great. They was married my whole childhood. They ended up getting divorced when I was older, but they was married my entire childhood. She wouldn't have stopped nothing. I'm telling you right now. Like if it was just her, she wasn't gonna stop anything. For my dad to even limit what I was doing, and this was just opposed to what I knew. He had already tapped in with the OGs in my hood and had them having eyes on me.
okay.
So I would go do stuff and I would come home and I'd get yeah, I need to holler at you. And I'm like, how we know what happened? You know what I'm saying? And he was a realist. That's what I love about my pops. He wasn't he didn't present himself as like the almighty or the perfect person. Um he might not necessarily supported my actions, but he also didn't um condemn me as if like I was just like this idiot or whatever. He understood the environment I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Um he understood the people that I was growing up around. And I think he knew that he implanted enough common sense in me and enough I tell people enough of a conscience that um he knew that I would only go so far. I grew up with friends that didn't have a conscience. I grew up with people that
Mm.
maxed it out in the street, and I'll just put it like that. Like the worst shit that you could do in the street, that's what I grew up with. I grew up with the people that was making the newspaper front page. You know what I'm
Whoa.
saying? Period. And so he knew that's who I was hanging around. So one of the things that he did was he put us all in private school. So I was in private school from kindergarten up to ninth grade, and uh, he paid a bag for that. There's one thing that as a kid I didn't understand and I didn't appreciate. But as I get older, at one time he had a total of 4 kids in private school at the same time.
Mm.
And if people know how much private school costs, we talking somewhere around 1,500 a month. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They was driving used cars when literally they could have been driving Benzes. And that was their way of trying to. I tell people all the time, like my pops and them, they raised me. I'll be honest with you, they raised me to be the dudes in these spaces. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
had a, I had an older brother,
Explain that.
like to go the right path. Like and that's one thing, even if even if I have my disagreements with a lot of these guys in this space, I'll never talk down on them for not uh messing around in the streets and stuff because um a lot of the stuff that I experienced from making that decision, I have to live with, and it's stuff that I deal with to this day.
Hmm.
Um, my 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 dad has four boys,
Whoa.
and yeah, well, altogether he got six kids. He got two girls and four boys. But
Okay.
as far as the four boys, we've all had a friend murdered in front of us. Every last one of us,
In front of you?
in front of us, like watched it happen.
Oh, my Lord.
My older brother, his best friend. I had a friend, and then my two youngest brothers. Which the weirdest part of them is they had actually moved to the suburbs by then, because after I graduated, about a year or two after I graduated, my mom and them moved to the suburbs. So my younger brothers, from like 8 and 11, was raised in the suburbs, and even they had they had three friends. Actually, one of them, my little brother was sleeping on the couch with him, and they came in and robbed him for. He had a bag of money, and they came in and set him up and robbed him and shot him on the same couch that my little brother was sleeping on at the exact same time.
So your brother could have been taken out.
100%. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So like I said, like so. That's why I said I never what I would never do is talk down on these cats for not making that decision, because I know what you got to live with when you make that decision. If you go through certain things when you out there, and you see certain things that when you go out there. I know a lot of these cats like to use the PTSD thing, because it makes you look like I'm I'm evaluated as having it. Like, this isn't no I self evaluated myself. Like, there's
mhm.
ticks and stuff that I have. There's stuff that I tell people, like, I drive by my house before I go into my driveway. Um, it's certain stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I basically do a perimeter search before I leave my house. I check my bushes. Um, it's just because, like, again, like I know how people operate in that situation, and again, I don't do nothing but go to work and come home. But I also have the frame of mind of, I know it can happen anytime, any day, and I'd rather just be prepared for it than not be. And that's stuff that, I'm gonna be honest with you, in my head, I never even thought of as being weird. It was just something that I did. And then when I went to therapy, they
Hmm.
kind of explained to me, like, oh no, I had an instinct when I was younger when I heard a car coming down the street and I heard some beat, speakers. And my neighborhood had some issues with another neighborhood. And I looked out the window and I seen like 12 gauges sticking out the window.
What?
Oh shit, right? So I get away from the window, and probably about like 30 seconds later, I'm here, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh shit, right? What I didn't know though was, from that day on, every single time I hear a car go by with beat, I just go to the window every single time. And I didn't even notice that as a tick until I went to the military and I was doing it. People was like, why you do that? And I'm
Wow.
looking at them like, what you talking about? And it was like, every time you hear woo woo, you go to the window. And I'm like I never even looked at it. It was just something that naturally happened. So when I went to therapy, that's when they explained it to me. Like, it's part of your PTSD. It's like you went through something dramatic, yada yada yada. So now do this and this or whatever. So I say that to say that, yeah, like my parents, they tried to raise us to not even go through that type of stuff. What happened with me was, my older brother was in the streets, and that's the dude that I looked up to.
Hmm.
And so that's who I was chasing after. I wanted to be like him. And so even though he was, to his credit, was telling me no, he would do whatever he could to keep me away from it. But I'm like, nah, you tripping. Like,
You watching it though. You
yeah.
watching it.
Well, I mean, I started smoking weed behind him. Um,
Okay.
I got my first gun behind him. He hit it. We had a bookcase in my in my room, and he had tucked it. And I'm just going through the bookcase or whatever, and I found a little 380. Oh, this mine now. And I'm running around. I think I was probably like 12 or 13, and you couldn't tell me nothing. I got the 380. You feel me? So yeah.
So you credit your dad for your
Yeah.
work ethic. And you said something that if it was just your mom, she
Mhm.
wouldn't have stopped nothing. And
No.
you're absolutely right, because Mr. Randolph talks about that too, because
Mhm.
again, his parents, were married
Mhm.
until his mom passed away, and he was grown then.
Yeah.
But he would talk about how, particularly when he's a teenager, I mean, he really wasn't doing anything, but
Mhm.
young boys start to smell themselves in junior high
Yep.
school, especially high school. He was a football player, and
Pop sit you down.
and she would tell he was telling me some of the things his mom would say to him, and he would
Mhm.
just kind of blow out. He said, "Okay, just wait till your father gets home."
Mhm.
So those are the worst things that he could have
And
ever heard. Wait till your father gets home. We
I,
need
I
more conversations like that. Wait till your father gets home.
I tell people that when I used to run from the police, I wasn't running from jail. I was running from the butt whooping I was gonna get when I came home. Because if I went to juvie, my partners was there. So that's why we was never scared of juvie. Because if I went to juvie, I'm just gonna see some of my partners that I actually ain't seen in a minute anyway.
Right.
But if I get home, it's about to be game time. You feel me? And with my older brother being, hey Courtney, with my older brother being in the streets, I saw the consequences of getting caught. Now, mind you, my older brother used to be on the block. So he lived in North Oakland. I lived in East Oakland. And so
Okay.
my dad would go over there to go see him. The people on the block would literally tell my brother that your dad is coming, and he would hit fences like the police was coming to make it back to the apartment so my dad didn't see him on the block. That's what we was dealing with. So we was the kids that the dudes on the block was like, bro, if you gotta do that, you ain't supposed to be out here type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you gotta run from your dad like that, this ain't what you supposed to be. So
But
yeah,
you look at it now and say how good of a thing that was? Because again, we
no,
need we need more. Wait till your father gets home.
no, listen, and mind you, I want to say this because my mom was no punk. My mom told me to do the dishes one time, and apparently she knew what I was thinking and took me by my neck, put me on the door. My legs was kicking, and told me if I ever thought that again in my life. So I'm not saying it's like my mom was a punk.
Right.
I'm just saying she wasn't gonna stop me if it was just her. That father puts a different kind of fear in you. Even
Yeah.
going back to my brother, my dad would tell me about how my brother would just be a super distraction in school and said he would pop up at school. Not only would my brother be sitting at the front of the class, he'd be raising his hands to answer questions. The teacher would be sitting there confused, like, what's gotten into you? Pops is in the back. You feel me? And that's why I hate when you hear somebody's die say, "Oh, I didn't need a dad." First of all, how do you know if you never had one? Number two, it's funny how you didn't need a dad, but your kids need one. Makes
Mm,
no sense. But and number three, um, most guys that grow up with the dad, when we're around guys that were raised with their mom, and it's no shots to the mom because you're women, it is what it is. But
right.
we see the traits that are rubbed off on them, and they don't even understand it because that's what you grew up with. But like, I almost got into a fight with one of my homeboys because he said something to me. He had made a post and said, if you get me mad, it ain't no telling what I say to you. And I said, bro, you sound like a female.
Uh-oh.
He like, what you mean? I'm like, bro, that's what women do. Like, if that's what you thought about somebody, it shouldn't take you getting mad to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what females hold that type of stuff in, and when they get mad, then they throw it at you. Whatever. Like, that's not how men carry themselves. But people that are raised by women, they don't understand that because this is how I saw my mom resolve conflict. Whereas with me, I watched my dad resolve conflict. In fact, I watched him resolve conflict not only with other men, but also with women. I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of ignored the way he did it with men, but with the women, I'm better with. With the men, I got to work on that. But with the women, 'cause he's the cool, calm, and collected one, and I'm the one where they ripping my shirt to pull me back type of thing. So
Well, it's funny you say that, and it's funny how you don't you when you're used to dealing in dysfunction,
mhm.
when you see something opposite, it's not normal to you because you're used to what's abnormal. So, well, I've said that to say, you know, when me and Mr. Randolph got together, and again, he raised both parents. His father is a very strong figure even now. And
Mhm.
his father is a very imposing figure. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4" himself. Um, but the way he deals with conflict, not just with me, but
Mhm.
I've seen him deal with conflict, with men,
Mhm.
and it's a calm, cool, collected. It's
Yeah.
never irrational. It's never
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah.
And so when I see that and I look back at some of the previous situations I've been in, I'm like, they were acting like women
Yep. Yeah.
because he's slow to anger. Now he may be angry,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you don't know it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You don't know it.
You know what's funny is my dad's only 5'7", and the way that he handles himself. I had a homeboy that was 6'5". No, I think Big Kurt 6'7", six
Mhm.
seven. Was that a real? And he told me straight up. He said, "Bro, I'm not even scared of my own dad, but your pops, because of how he carry himself. You know what I'm saying? So and my dad, he was kind of like me. Like he messed around in the streets, but he wasn't like crazy out there. But he had the respect of the cats in my neighborhood. Like period. Like they didn't they didn't try us. You feel me? Like it just it wouldn't go. So that's why I tell a lot of people too, like you ain't even necessarily got to be this like big bad bravado. Like you carry yourself, stand on something. Men gonna respect, men gonna respect that. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big thing that I learned with him. That's why I don't tend to walk around with my chest poked out and this and the other. Because I understand that you don't have to do that to gain respect. You know what I'm saying? You carry
Yeah.
yourself a certain way and you're gonna be respected. And that's
So
everything.
who is this lovely right here?
That's my baby. Like that is what changed my life. Um, um, that's my heart.
It's all right, Daddy. That's what's that
um,
that is why I wanted to talk with you because again, looking at your Instagram, this is what makes you tick. This right here
yeah,
is what makes you tick. And women, this is what we want. You understand me?
I like,
Please.
man, I love my baby to pieces. Like, somebody mess with that one, man. It's a problem. I promise. Like, it's like that's the one that calmed me down. Like, that's the one that you know when I was on bullshit. That's the one that stopped it. You know, I love all of my kids. Another thing about her too is she was born on the exact same day I went to the Navy, and so what's
Really?
crazy about it's a couple of things about her. So when I was with her mom, I didn't know if I could have kids because we had been trying for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and it just wasn't popping off. And so it even to the fact that I was thinking about going to like get checked or whatever.
Right.
So her grandmother, who she's named after, ended up getting cancer. And so she ended up pretty much going, it was stage 4 when she found out.
Mm.
So she kind of went down kind of fast. It was about a year. And so before she passed, she looked at us and said, "Don't worry about it. Y'all gonna have one." And we looking at her like, all right, whatever. The craziest part though is her sister, who at the time I want to say was like 35, 36, and was done with kids. She looked at her and said, "Oh, you gonna have another one too." And her sister, as funny she is, was like, "Who the hell you talking to?" Her mother passed away in August. We found out she was pregnant in October. 2 weeks later, her sister was pregnant as well. So that was crazy. Um, Another crazy part is she's a cancer. Actually, both of her and her cousin are both cancers. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because they were born that close together.
Yep. June 30th and July 7th. And like I said, and So June 30th is the day I shipped off for the Navy, and so
And she was born that day? How did
she
you handle that?
not the no, it wasn't the day I shipped off for the Navy. I'm saying it. So I shipped off for the Navy June 2003. She was born June 2011. I was already out the Navy.
Oh, okay. Gotcha,
You know what I'm
gotcha.
saying? It was the exact same day. So
Okay.
the way I look at it is like that day changed my life two different times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it changed my life two different times because before she was born, like I was moving around kind of. I mean, I wasn't crazy, but I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
When she came, like it's the first time that I had something that I felt like to. Hey, I knew you was gonna come over here. Um, it's the first time that I had something that I felt like I had to kind of like live for because like when I grew up, like I had the same conversation I think people remember on Minister Society when his grandfather came outside and he was like, Kane, do you care whether you live or die? I had a cousin that I used to run with. Me and him was born in the same year, so we was basically like brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandma asked us like, we was like 19 or something like that. We was wild, and she was like, "Do y'all care if y'all live or die?" We was like, "Nah, we don't give a fuck." Like because back then we wasn't looking at no future. Like I tell people, like we wasn't looking at like 30s. We wasn't even looking at like 25.
Right.
It was literally the next day. If we make
Mm.
it the next day, cool. You know what I'm saying? So come on, dog. So and I think some people don't. Oh my god, she done got herself caught up in this court. Go, girl.
We
Um, and I think she just boo boo too. That's me up.
uh-oh.
Um,
Do we need to take an intermission?
let me see. Nah, she all right.
Okay.
She might have pooed it. But nah, but so yeah, so it just having her like when you would react certain ways to certain stuff, it's like it puts something in your head, like, nah, you can't do that. Nah, you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that before. I had it a little bit because like I said, like when I was messing around, what I did have was like I didn't want to put shame on my mom and them names. Even though I didn't completely understand what they had did to try to keep me out of stuff, I
Right.
did know that they tried hard for me to not, just be looked at as like some kind of street dude. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I hid a lot of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like I didn't carry myself that way. I used to wear glasses. I don't need glasses. I used to wear prescription glasses. It was also too to be deceitful too. Like I'd be able to get away with stuff. I had like a little baby face assassin type thing.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh, but yeah, like I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be. I didn't like the perception. Also too because I was smart enough. I didn't want the attention. So but anyways, going back. So when I had her, it kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things in life. Like it was as far as like me even just caring about a lot. Like it made me care about the stuff a lot more. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it made me move a little bit different. It gave me a purpose when I was going out to go work. It gave me a purpose to move higher as far as working and stuff. That's basically what 2011. That's when I started like really truck driving and stuff. So
It seems like that date, based on what you said, both going into the Navy and her birth were
uh,
passages into manhood in different ways for you.
um yeah, I'm gonna go get her some fruit right quick. I'll be right
Okay,
back.
no worries. Hit the like button, you all. Hit the like button. Grab your cocktail. This is his tribe when he comes back. And the reason why I want to have this conversation because it's funny because we keep hearing these conversations about these high value men or whatever. How about a good man? How about that? How about a good, hardworking man? How about a man who is family first? Tell us about this picture, Tommy.
That was in Atlanta. I went to go see my mom. My mom's staying in Atlanta. So we went out there, and God, I was fat back then. Whew.
You said you was fat.
No, I done lost 50 pounds. So when I see all my old pictures now, I'll be like, damn, I was fat.
You lost 50
But,
pounds.
yeah, I was like, I got around like 245, 250. I got down to like 200, 195. But yeah, we was in Atlanta, chilling with my mom. My sister came. No, my sister was still out there. So yeah, we was out there hanging out with my mom and stuff. I think we was out there for like 4 or 5. Listen, my daughter went out there with my sister.
Mm-hmm.
So that guy right there in the middle had to tote her on my chest. I had him on the leash, which he broke in the airport.
You say he
I
broke
had
it.
he broke it because he kept on running. I had my luggage, their luggage, diaper bag, and a carry-on. That's what that that's what that picture reminds me.
You was
So
worn out.
listen, every single last every last like woman on that plane was like, oh my God. Like I could never. You are Superman. I'm just like, don't give me no compliment. Help.
Okay, so I need to ask you a question.
uh,
We've been hearing a lot of things in these YouTube spaces about what a man's role is.
mm,
In Tommy B's work, what is manhood to you?
um, I think it's about protection. I think it's about leadership. Um, I think it's about um, I think it's about standing on principles. And I think that's the big thing that we missing these days is people don't stand on principles. People don't set principles and stand on it. People are so flexible in what they will and will not do. And again, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think a lot of that is because a lot of these guys are being raised by women.
Mm,
Women don't, and it's no knock to women, but women don't tend to stand on principles. Women that have principles that they'll stand on until this happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I would never say that to you until this happens.
yeah, because a lot of times
A
our feelings dictate our
hundred
feelings.
a 100%, exactly. And
Yeah.
so, what are we seeing with a lot of these guys? Like I explained about my homeboy earlier. Oh, I'm cool until you make me mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even had instances in this space where I show people like I don't agree with doing something. So even if it's done to me in retaliation, I don't then break my principle and do it to you. I'm
Right.
gonna let you wear that. I'm gonna let you wear the fact that you did that. My retaliation ain't gonna be, oh, well, you did that to me. I was saying to Jedi, that's my God. Hey Jenny. Um, my retaliation is not to then break what I stand on because my feelings are hurt or because I'm emotional. And what you see with a lot of these cats is, oh, well, he did it to me. For me, I don't care. If I stand on something, you know, it's not gonna happen. So I'll give you a perfect example. Like if somebody talked about a dead relative, I don't
Mm-hmm.
get that. So if somebody said something about my dead relative, my retaliation ain't to then find out who your dead relative is and talk about them. Nah, that ain't that. I don't stand on that. I stand on that's not something that I do. So whether you do that to me or not, I'm still not doing it because that's what I stand on. Whether you're here or not, whether you did it, you did it, you did it, it doesn't matter. What my principles is, I don't go there. That's out. And it's too many of these cats that they got these principles until this happens. And it's like that's not leadership. You know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like one thing we say out here is chin up, chest out. We stand on what we stand on. You feel me? Like it is what it is. And I ain't gonna lie to you, a lot of times it's hard to do it, but that's part of being a man. Sometimes it is hard to stand on that because sometimes you do want to get your get back. You know what I'm saying? But the way I look at it is I'll get my get back within my principles. And it's not to say that everybody's principles have to line up. It's just you stand on what you stand on. So what I might stand on might not be what you stand on. But for me, as long as you stand on what you stand on and you solid on that, I can't have no problem with that. We can have a disagreement about it, but it don't even mean that we gotta have. I just know where you stand, and I know what your boundaries are, and
Right.
then I can tell you where I stand and where my boundaries are. And as long as we respect each other's boundaries, there's no issues. But again, I think a lot of the issue you have with guys here is one, they don't have solid boundaries that they set, and then two, they if they find out your boundaries again, like women, instead of respecting your boundaries,
They
oh, that's your boundaries. Let me use that against you. Let me
It's
trigger.
a perpetual line stepper.
Yeah, it's like even this triggering thing. Like,
Right.
bro, that's women behavior. Women like to trigger you. Women like to get you off your square. But I see a bunch of dudes that hear that they're proud of triggering a man. And I'm like, that's not how men move. And I'm gonna keep it solid with you. When you go through certain stuff, you understand why men don't move like that. I tell people all the time, one of the most respectful places you can be is a prison. Niggas ain't
Mm.
in prison trying to trigger nobody. You know why? Because there's a healthy respect of what might happen to you if you trigger that man, and that's why men don't quote unquote trigger each other because the key word in there is trigger. And if you trigger a man in real life, there might be a trigger involved a little bit later. You know
Aha!
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's why when I see a lot of these cats and how they move, it's like I got to get used to it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the internet and they have whole different rules and stuff like that. But I move the way I move, and this internet stuff ain't gonna switch me up. I move with respect. I respect any and everybody around me, and I do that solely because I know that if anything happens, I know I gave respect first. I
Okay.
know that's what I led by. So if anything goes south, I know I can stand on the fact that I didn't come in and be disrespectful. So if it went left and this, and this had to happen, I know for my conscience, well, hey man, I let respect. I didn't come in here wow calling nobody names, yada yada yada. But I would say that that's one of the biggest principles of being a man is just having some solid principles and standing on those. And in that, I think that would help a lot of these cats with their little issues with the women and stuff too.
Do you okay? So you mentioned something. You mentioned you think that that would help.
Mhm,
So let's change lanes a little bit. So you said you're single.
mhm.
What are the challenges, if any, you've experienced with finding that one?
Social media.
Okay.
Social media. What's up, Lucky? Um, he
You
is
see
so
what
annoying.
Shorty said?
um, social media is a huge one. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like so one the communication is it's a huge break in communication with social media. I grew up where we had to, we walked everywhere with pencil and pad everywhere. You did not leave the house without a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen to get that number. We also had to have a conversation with you to earn your phone
Hmm.
number. Nowadays, it's just, hey, what's your Instagram? And then once you get the Instagram, now it's did not. Now, let me tell you another part, and I want to explain this to a lot of women and a lot of men too, but especially to the women. This is my biggest thing I do not like about social media. Social media is the equivalent of handing your phone number out to everybody. And people always look at me like, how? Well, if I DM you, it comes to the same place where you texted me. What's the difference? If I send you a DM, it's coming to the exact same place where you get your text messages at. So now I don't even have to earn the right to hit you up privately. I can scroll through Instagram, find your profile, follow you, and now I've essentially got your phone number. And I've never met you in my life. Nobody ever thinks about it that way though. So I had a homeboy and he was talking about dating this chick. He was like, "Bro, I don't know. She got like 5,000 friend followers, and it's mostly dudes." And I said, "Let me break it to you down like this: would you want your girl to have 5,000 guys that have her number?" And he was like, "Well, what you mean by that?" I said, "Any of these 5,000 dudes could send her a DM, and it's in the same place that a text message hit." And he stopped. He said, "Damn, bro." I never looked at it like that. And I'm like, explain to me where I'm wrong at.
Mm-hmm.
It's really no different. And so what I say is it's literally the equivalent of, say, back in my day, your girl walking up the street and just handing her phone number out to anybody that's walking down the street. Nobody would be okay with that. But yet
Right.
we're okay with social media and 5,000 strangers having the. Now, in saying that, am I saying like, ooh, if you date me, you can't have a social media? Like, nah, that's goofy. But I think because we don't look at it that way, it started to create a lot of issues. And so, what a large part of the issue is a lot of women are in their head having these options because they have a lot of these guys in their inbox, whispering these sweet nothings to them. And
Mm-hmm.
so the problem with that is back in the day when you and your dude got into it, unless you was on something slimy, you had to deal with it, or you wasn't getting none that night. And yes, women want some too. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So you kind of wanted to fix that. Well, now if he do something wrong, Jerome is in the inbox telling you, "Oh, I would never do that. Oh, I would never do that." Here's another part of it too. You and your dude is together, and he's making 40,000 a year, 50,000 a year. Well, now you on social media, and they're presenting themselves as making 100, 150, 200. They driving big Benz, living in big house, yada yada yada. And so now you start comparing, and what they say, comparison what they say, comparison is the destruction of joy, or something like that. So now you look
Mm.
at your life like, I need you to relax, little girl. So now they comparing their life with, oh well, I could be with him living like this, but I'm
What's
living.
wrong, baby? Do you need to get mama?
No, she's just dramatic. I just gave her. Listen, these pineapples are for me, and they done messed around and found out about them, and now they eating up all my pineapples, and I just gave her some. And,
Ladies, you see this dad in action. I'm loving all of it. Y'all need to get a hold of it. Get a
man,
hold of it. So go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, so now I got to compete with so and so dude who, like I said, is presenting himself because a lot of these cats on social media we're finding out is faking the funk anyway. But
Head
they're
to the Yale.
but they're presenting this life or whatever that ain't real. Another thing with social media, these fake ass relationships. You got fake relationships. They acting like everything is sweet and golden on the internet, and you're getting the highlights of the relationship. And so in your head, when stuff goes wrong in your relationship, you looking over there like, damn, they on dates every other night. They out on the town every weekend. Why we ain't doing that? Yada yada. So then you got that. So that, and then my last part, the memes. Ladies, leave these M and F and memes alone. I don't know how many memes on the scene where, girl, you ain't got to change your attitude. It's a dude out there that'll hit that cash app. I remember somebody that I know had posted one time, and so I went to the young lady's Facebook to just, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm nosy. So I went in, let me see what she working with. Not a man in sight. How are you, man, promising these ladies that there's this da 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 there, and you ain't even got one? I'm confused. So you're promising these women that there's a man out there that da 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 da, but you ain't got one in sight.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know,
How old is your daughter?
she too. Yeah.
Yeah, my G baby turns 2 at the end of the month, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a show a couple of days ago, and I wasn't on camera because she was
No,
everywhere.
I heard her in the back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was tuned in. I heard her in the back. Hey, listen, I recognize all of them issues.
So okay,
Yeah.
so you've been meeting women.
Mhm.
Have you been meeting women and finding that that's the challenges that you're running into?
Um, yeah, and then another one too is like so. It's another weird like I don't I guess it's the ghosting thing or whatever. So like you'll be talking to somebody for some and whatever happens, I don't know, they meet somebody else, they get tired of it, whatever. But like so like what a lot of women will do is they will do stuff to make you leave the relationship or you leave the situation. even so, like I had one chick that I was talking to, and we would text like on, and once you get the text, you kind of have like a rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
and so you start noticing like the energy a little bit different. Okay, woo. So then, like for me, I ain't never trying to feel like Willie Foo Foo, man. Like I ain't gonna lie to you, like I'm not about to sit here and feel like I'm chasing something that ain't chasing me.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm cool on her. So then, I stopped hitting her up, and then like a little bit later, we ended up just chopping it up because we still follow each other on Instagram. It wasn't no beef because I'm not one of those like I got a beef with my exes or somebody I used to talk to type person. So it wasn't no beef. So then we ended up. So then she's like, well, you stopped talking to me, and I'm looking at her like, yeah, because you was falling off. And she was like, "Well, no, I was still interested." And I'm like, "Listen, I don't delete my text messages. I can show you where the phone call stopped getting answered. I can show you where the text stopped getting responded to. Like, what are we talking about here?" So it's like this thing, and I think that's always happened with a lot of women. Like they'll rather you be the one to break it up, so then you're kind of one at fault instead of you just being like, "Yeah, I'm cool on this," and bouncing or whatever. So you deal with a lot of that too, but I think social media is like a huge one. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like that I think that's the one that irritates me the most. Um, outside of that, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the stuff that these cats be talking about kind of be like, you feel me? Um, some of the stuff that they be talking about be kind of true. But a lot of the stuff that they talk about, in this space, I don't necessarily run into as far as like the submission. Like every time I've been with a female, we, say we had a family outing, it's like they make my plate. I've never had to ask. It's done. But I'm also the type of dude that like if I'm rocking with you, like if you need gas in your car, I'm just taking it to the gas station. I'm filling it up. Just that's you feel me? Like it ain't no you gotta ask me, like that's just what I do. You feel me? Like I'm not about to have my chick at the gas station filling up her tank. You feel me? I'm washing the car. You feel me? Like so it's stuff that I naturally do
Mm-hmm.
that I think I don't know. I guess it might evoke in her wanting to do those type of things.
Well, I think it does. And I'm going to tell you because for the past few years, I haven't had to fill up my car.
Yeah,
I haven't had to wash my car.
mhm,
And again, because it's about the other person. So it's
yeah,
like he's always thinking of me and I'm always thinking of him.
yeah,
I think unfortunately, going back to your issue, your statement about social media,
mhm,
we always think we're reaching for the next.
yeah, yeah,
And if we're reaching for the next, we're not content with the now.
yeah,
And it's funny because I remember when I was younger, way before social media,
mhm,
I was thinking, okay, if I get this job, I'll be happy. Or if I have this relationship, I'll be happy. And when this happens, I'll be happy. And that was on a much smaller scale. But
yeah,
now when you have you're comparing yourself to everybody else's life, that like you said, a snippet of it, you think, well, I want to keep reaching for this so I can have what they have, but you don't know what they have.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, mama.
You don't know. I tell people all the time, you don't know what's going on behind them closed doors.
You
She could be
don't.
looking like she having the time of her life and getting her MF and butt whooped, and you have no idea about it. You know what I'm saying? They could be having money problems. It's all kind of stuff that listen. It's all kind of stuff that could be going on that you don't even take in. It's just like I said and I missed this part too because this is one part that I completely agree with Kevin saying. It's the Disneyfication of relationships, and
Mm.
um, so I told somebody one time this was so why did I get married? Right, uh,
Hmm.
I think that was the one where with Mike and Sheila.
Yes.
So she leaves Mike, and the very next dude she meets is the perfect guy. That don't happen in real life, ladies. It may happen once every, 1 million, but the very next guy. And so what I think a lot of women don't understand is um, movies have a time limit. So they kind of have to fast forward a lot of stuff. So what you're not going to see is when Sheila had to go deal with the a hole that stole her car, or deal with the bum that just sat on the couch, or dealt with the dude that might have been on the down low, or dealt with the dude that actually had a family over here and she found out about. Like, you don't get to see all of that because it's not enough time in the movie to show all that. So what they're going to show you is, oh, she left Mike and then boom, she met the shitter, and they lived happily ever after. And so when I started, okay, look, go sit down now. So when I started thinking about that, I started thinking about a lot of these movies. And almost every movie is like that. If you look at Titanic, she left her dude to get with Jack. Jack was the perfect guy. If you look at Pearl Harbor, she thought dude was, had went over there and got died. So what did she do? She ended up being no boy, the perfect guy. If you look at The Notebook, her and dude broke up. It's just that's how movies present it. And I think a lot of these women, I got a cousin, and she's one of the only the only woman that I know that keeps it a thou wow about damn near anything when it comes to women.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll tell you straight up, she had a dude that was head over heels for her. I mean, just everything. Left him dogged him out for a knucklehead, right? This was 25 years ago.
Uh-huh.
She's still looking for a dude like that. And so one of my biggest things I've been saying that's wrong with a lot of women these days is they're so focused on being the prize that they don't want to give the solid dudes too much credit. So, and I say that meaning like the stuff that a solid dude does, they look at as just being normal. And so I think I can't remember who it was. It was like a rapper or something, but he said, "If this stuff is so normal, why y'all looking for it? And then once y'all get it, y'all treat it like it's just normal. Oh, you supposed to do that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the big part of it because and so I would tell you what my cousin told me. Her mindset was when she was with dude was I'll just get me another one. And 25 years later, she's still looking for another one. And I think that's what I think a lot of women don't want to face is if I lose this dude, I might not find another one like him. And you know, what I try to explain to a lot of women is look at what you have to dig through to find a good dude. You got to make sure he is willing to go to work. He ain't a jailbird. He ain't swinging the other way.
He ain't
He,
on drugs.
he ain't on drugs. He ain't physically or mentally abusive. You know what I'm saying? He ain't a cheater. Like it's so. Why when you get a dude that meets all of this stuff, you spend your time focusing on the stuff that he doesn't have instead of the good stuff that he has. And that's what I tend to see a lot of women do is they'll have this dude that's like 80-20, and they will solely only complain about the 20. And the other 80 that he has is just what you're supposed to do anyway. And so what they then will find out is they go out there into that world and go, wait a minute. And this is a funny thing because there are women out there on social media, to give them their credit, that tell you, ladies, it's piss in the dating pool. But again, because that's not feeding a woman's ego. That's not feeding the ego that I want to be the prize. So what they'll do is they'll skip right past that post to the post that goes, oh no, ladies, you deserve this, this, and this. Oh no, ladies, you deserve this, this, and this. And so one thing I tell a lot of women, and it's listen, I appreciate anything that anybody does for
Yes.
me. But
Yes.
let's get this understood, ladies. I'm single. I gotta wash, cook, clean right now. So let's just get this understood. The shit's gonna get done. Now, if you come around and you do that, why am I get that out your mouth? Get out. Why am I giving you why am I giving you all of this credit for doing that, right? When if you're single,
You got to do it anyway.
thank you. So you're literally only doing it for one extra person. That's it. So it drives me crazy when I see women. Oh, I cook, I clean. Listen, I appreciate it too, but let's not get it messed up. If you're single, you'd have to do it too. So what exactly is that really doing? Now, mind you, the stuff that I do for you, I ain't got to do that shit if you ain't around. I ain't got to fill
Mm.
your gas tank up. I ain't got to wash your car. I ain't got to jump in front of no bullet. Like it, all a lot of the stuff that I do as a man, if you're not around, I don't have to do that. That's the difference between what we do and what women do. But again, it doesn't feed the ego, and so a lot of them don't want to look at it that way. They always want to look at it from the fact of, like I said, I'm the prize type thing. And so, in saying that, I don't want to sit here and act like I don't want women to have confidence and stuff like that, because of course you should have confidence. Of course you should feel good about yourself. But to be honest with you, if I just told you exactly what I told you, who's really the prize? And so, if you get a guy that meets all of these qualifications that's handling his business, who's really the prize in the situation?
Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and stop you right there, Tom, because you made a really good point, and I'm gonna use myself as an example. Y'all know I like to give real life examples. She is showing up too.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I gotta
Sure.
fix this.
So I like to use myself as an example. There was a guy I dated. I had to be 23. Okay, 23. Um, and I will consider him my first love, if you will. I didn't value that relationship enough. I didn't. I could call it naivete. I'm not going to say that I felt like I could just get another one. I didn't. I didn't feel that way because he was a good guy, and I loved him, but I did not value it enough. So we broke up, and he got married, and what really made me get a hold of it, because at that time he was the best man that I ever know. There's no way I could ever go. That's a song. He was the best. I mean, he had treated me the absolute best. Y'all know how I love my grandfather. He was born on my grandfather's birthday. So he reminded me a lot of my grandfather. Well, I didn't value that relationship enough. And so he and I are, Facebook friends or whatever, and his wife and I are, friends, and we're cool. And they celebrated their 20 plus year anniversary. I think it may have been a 20-year or 21-year anniversary not too long ago. And yeah, it was before I met Mr. Randolph, I think. And I said to myself, how many relationships have I been in for the past 20 years that they've been married? Trying to find the man like him, the man that I did not value enough. And that's when it really hit me. They had been celebrating 20 plus years of marriage. And for those 20 plus years, I had been searching for what I had 20 plus years ago.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
you need to listen to women who are telling you, they're not telling you because, they're hating, they're trying to prevent you from going through the misery of knowing what we know to be true. Because the difference is at 23, even though I'd never looked at it from a perspective, oh, I could get another one, but I did think I had time.
Yeah, yep,
Because that was before I had my daughter. I did think I had time.
yep,
And because I was fine,
yep,
I always thought I was going to be fine,
yep.
not just cute. So you don't think about it till you find yourself 30, 40, 50. So I'm grateful. And I think now, to your point, I'm grateful for everything that my husband does, even before he, became my husband. And I will always say, thank you, this, and, and he's like, you don't have to thank me. That's what I'm supposed to do. I said, but there's never anything wrong with saying thank you.
Yeah, yeah. It. I just honestly think like right now we're just dealing with a power struggle with a lot of women, and not power in like the whole submission thing. I think it's just power in like they want to be. Um, I don't want to say because like I don't want to like I value what women bring to a relationship, so I don't want to make this like I'm just like who cares if you're around. I love women. Period. Point blank. I need one. You feel me?
Mhm.
Like
I hear that, ladies.
I need somebody to tap in. No, but you feel, but like I said, like when you look at the stuff that a man brings, most of the stuff that we bring, we don't have to do this when you're gone. But most of the stuff that you bring, you literally still have to do this whether I'm here or not.
Yes.
You're doing it for one extra person. That's literally it. And that's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, I have a good relationship with both of my kids' mom, but me and my oldest mom has been. I think it'll be 10 years this year that we've been apart. I ain't seen another dude around there, not one. And one thing I tell people is, I make it that difficult on purpose. Like,
That's right.
and when I say I make it that difficult, as in the way I treat you, because number one, I had a dad that showed me how to treat a woman through how he treated my mom, and my dad not only treated my mom, he spoiled her. Like my mom's was super spoiled. You feel me? So the way that I treat a woman, first of all, it's gonna be completely different than half these dudes out here that's raised by women, because women don't know how to treat a woman. So it's funny how like I remember a verse by YG that said, "I know how to treat a woman because I got a mama." Nah, pimp, she ain't never had to treat a woman. Most women that I know that end up treating a woman, the first thing they say is, "Damn, I see why y'all don't like us." You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't an easy job to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, it's a lot of women that I've known that have dealt with women and go, man, that shit's some work. You feel me? So,
Yeah.
but so yeah, like I watched even down to like romantic stuff, dates. Like I watched how my dad treated my mom. That's where I had front row seats to how to treat a woman. Everything to like I had an ex that uh her windshield was cracked. When she woke up in the morning, it wasn't cracked no more. $350 went down the street, got it fixed. Boom. Wasn't no questions asked. Wasn't no, hey, you need to pay me back. That's what we do over here. You know what I'm saying? And
To
God
that
is.
point, Tommy, going back to that guy I was telling you about,
Mhm,
when that my first love, I was 23 years old. I had a flat tire.
mhm,
By the time I got off work, my tire was changed.
yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
like that.
And it's crazy because it happens. And the sad part about it is the only way that you value that is when you meet the next dude and you outside going, damn, I done got off work and my tire's still flat. What the hell happened? That's the only way you value it, because when he does that, it turns into an expectation instead of appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I want to say. That's, I think, one of the biggest things that's hard to deal with a lot of these women these days is that appreciation instead of expectation. And I'm not saying this to say that you shouldn't expect this man to do this and this, but also be appreciative that he did this, knowing that again, it ain't a lot of these cats out here that's offering that. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And but again, I think the problem with that with a lot of these women is, well, then if I look at it that way, he's the prize. Well, I'm supposed to be the prize. He can't be the prize. And I think that's the fight that a lot of women are having right now. And to be honest, ladies, I think that's why y'all having so much trouble with a lot of, the quote unquote good guys. Is because when y'all get them, y'all take them for granted. And then, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to not be the prize type deal.
And let's be clear, ladies. Hold on, nephew.
Uh,
Let's be clear, ladies. It's far more of us to them. You hear me? Far more of us women to every good man. So don't play yourself. You better act like you got some sense. If you want a good man, you better act like you got some sense.
I'm so glad you said that because I say that a lot and it's coming from a man. So it's like it comes with an eye roll. But the way I try to break it down is like we said earlier. What do you have to go through to find a good man out here? He has to not be swinging the other way. He has to be trying to be gainfully employed. He has to not be a bum sitting on my couch borrowing my car when I go to work. He has to not be a jailbird. He has to, and then after you get past all of that, now I got to be attracted to him.
And what does he have a personality? You understand me?
But that's what. So now, after I get past all of the prerequisites, got a job. Because okay, look, TJ,
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, I carry myself with a certain. Hold on, chill out, girl. I think she's sleeping. I think it's
Uh-oh.
nap time. Her brother already knocked out over there. That's why he ain't been over here.
Oh, mama.
Yeah. So okay, I carry myself with a certain confidence, and I tell people, my confidence don't come from my looks. My confidence comes from me knowing what my competition is. Let me explain to you my competition. This is what I read on ladies' profiles on dating sites. Please have a car. Huh? Please be gainfully employed. What? Please don't be living with your girlfriend or baby mama. Please don't be in jail. This is what I'm looking at, and I'm talking about these is beautiful women. I'm like, that's your qualifications? That's how it is? Like, that's what y'all going through out here?
Yes.
That's crazy to me.
Yes.
So
I did a live yesterday, Tommy, that talked about all that. If I just would have did my due diligence, it would have saved me not only financial ruin but physical abuse.
yeah, it's nuts. It's like so for somebody like me, I got a job that I make a certain amount of money. Uh, I got a car. I live by my house. I mean, I live by myself for real, alone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it like, dog, this y'all bare minimum? Like this is what y'all ask? Like this is crazy. So yeah, that's why yeah, both of my girls suck their thumbs. I got braces in the future for sure. But yeah, so yeah, my thing is, damn, if that's what y'all digging through, when you finally find a good one, like I tell a lot of people, I ain't gonna lie to you, I damn near would rather deal with a chick that's been dogged out before than to deal with one that hasn't. Because it seems like they have to learn from experience to appreciate you being a decent dude. Because look, look, let me keep it a thousand with you.
Go ahead.
I'd have been on both sides of shit. I'd have been a good guy. I'd have been a bad guy. I tell people all the time, there's a group of women that look at me a certain way, and there's another group of women that look at me in a completely different way. I'm one way when I'm in a relationship, and I'm a whole demon when I'm in the other way. That's how I rock. Now, one thing I don't do is I don't lie. I just tell people straight up, if I ain't had that conversation with you that we together, we ain't together.
Right.
And I'm maneuvering. Wait, this provision comes with expectation of sex and child on women part. So kind of balance out both roads have conditions. No, listen, okay. I want to make this abundantly clear. I'm not saying any of this to downplay a woman's role. I'm not saying any of this to say women ain't shit. I'm not saying any of this. What I'm being 100 with you about is like what TJ said. And I've told women this sometimes and it's kind of hurt. I'll find another you before you find another me. I stand on that. I stand on that. You know, one thing a lot of women don't understand too. I get inboxes off of my parenting. A nigga ain't about to inbox you because you're a good mama. We don't care.
You better speak on it. You better speak on it.
I've had women literally inbox me and go, damn, I love the way how you are as a father. Ooh, it's so sexy, yada yada. Man, if a nigga do inbox you that, he's lying. He don't care. He does not care. He trying to get the box. That's it. So
I don't know what this means here, but whatever.
well, so I'm gonna go ahead. Well, to play that. So I'm assuming that's a man. Listen, I'm not saying any. Hold on, hold on.
But what Tommy is saying is absolutely true. You know, and that's one of the reasons I want to do this live and have cocktails and conversations with Tommy, because largely because I saw his Instagram And it is apparent, no pun intended, what is important to this man. He's a hardworking family man, a father. Yes, that is, and again, when we women are out here choosing or want to be chose, that's the kind of stuff that we need to be looking for. And he's easy on the eyes, and he's tall. Y'all better quit playing. And like I said, it is more of us, women's, than men. And to Tommy's point, you know, it's not going to work out that you meet the very next guy is going to be the perfect guy, because after I had that situation I talked about yesterday, I met this guy. I mean, he was a nice guy, but it wasn't the one. Very nice guy, but just wasn't the one. And fortunately for me, the one that I met was Mr. Randolph after that. But that don't happen a lot. You got to sift through a whole bunch of knuckleheads to get to the right one. So, again, I think, and I think it's funny that we really, and a lot of times we just don't know. And the truth of the matter is, we didn't have women telling us that, girl, you better strike while the iron's hot, while you tight and right. While you fertile myrtle, if you want to have kids, while you're easy on the eyes, while gravity has not taken hold, while you still got a full head of hair that ain't gray. We didn't have women telling us that. I'm trying to tell you. And see, I think it goes back to, I knew it didn't take me long at all to figure out what kind of man Mr. Randolph was, and I wasn't playing no games at all. When he was out on the road and gave me a key to his house, when he came home, guess what? Laundry was done. I got in where I could fit in, because every time I was coming to his house, he was doing laundry. I'm like, I know what I can do. I had to stand out. Go ahead, Tommy.
No, that's real. And like I said, like, I'm not saying any of this to like try to belittle women or none of that. I'm trying to keep it a buck, to be 100 with you. Like, you know, I know Fourth Dimension was trying to say it was an equal exchange, and I agree with that to a certain extent. It's an equal exchange once you get into a long term relationship. I agree with. It's not even when you're in the singles market. It's not. It's far easy for me to find a decent woman than it is for a woman to find a decent dude.
Mm.
Like, and see, listen, still, unlike a lot of guys in this space, I have female friends, and a lot through the military. I done heard stories of, I've been dating this dude for a year and a half, and come to find out this nigga got a family on the other side of the country. I've heard these stories. Married, not just a family, married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dating a dude, he was cool at the beginning. Next, he whooping my ass. Dating a dude, lost his job, depressed. Now he won't go get another job. Like, it's so, like, it's, you hear that so, and I will say this. Maybe I have this point of view because, and I hate this whole thing, I have options or whatever, you know. But yeah, it's not that hard for me to find a chick that cooks and cleans, because most females that I'm gonna deal with cook and clean. And like I said, the way that I treat women, that's gonna come. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's not that hard. Now, for a woman that's good, you still have to go through these dudes, players. It's just so much stuff that you have to deal with. And mind you, when I'm saying all of this, I ain't saying a race. So don't sit here and you talking about. I'm talking about men in general. It's bum ass white dudes. It's bum ass Mexicans. It's bum ass, like, that's what you have to dig through to find these dudes that's solid individuals. And
It's real.
so, like I was telling you before, like, I play, and this is a big thing that I think ladies contribute to kind of their demise is, and I'm telling you from experience, like, when you out there, you can't get rid of them. Like you messing around, you doing this, you doing your thing, you can't get rid of them. And I think Trill from Crew Season said this on one of his posts, and it's crazy. I when he was on Lucky Channel, I told him, I said, it's so crazy. Me and you think like some of the stuff you say I've already said, or I'll be thinking like, but as soon as you domesticate yourself, it's like these shit. Phew, and I'm telling you, I played both sides of it. I done been a dude that it's one on the phone, it's one on the line, it's one texting me, it's one hitting me on a date. Like I done been there before, and you can't shake them off. And it's like the moment you be like, okay, she cool, she solid, I'ma chill out, woo woo woo. Next, you know, they picking apart everything wrong about you. Oh, it's like, wait, what? It's like it's insanity, and women won't believe it when you say it. But if you ask most men that's actually been out there, most of them will tell you that's 100. Like it just seems like as soon as you chill out, they it's like I guess it's not exciting no more, or something like that. You know, it just it's a weird dynamic. And like I said, me have been somebody have been on both sides as far as like being the quote unquote good guy and doing this and that, and then me being on the other side of it. As a man, at a certain point, it started hitting you like it's easier on this side. Like you know what I'm saying? Like like we are species that adapt.
Yeah.
So this is one thing I used to tell a lot of women when I was growing up. It's like if I'm looking at my partner over here and he got like 5 chicks and he got a smile on his face, you feel me? He living it up. These chicks won't leave him for anything. And then I'm looking at my partner over here and he got one chick and he getting pushed through the thing. Which way you think I'ma go? Which way you think I'ma go? You think I'm gonna go over here and deal with this pain over here, or you think I'm gonna go over here and you feel me? So, you know, I tell people like, you know, a lot of these women that created a lot of these players. Because at the end of the day, like as a man, you're gonna look and you're gonna adjust and be like, yo, I could be over here and be having this kind of fun and yada yada yada, or I could be over here. And let's understand it. When we decide to get into a relationship, there's a huge risk that comes with that as a man. And I'll say this as me, because what I've learned in this space is everybody don't got this experience. When I decide to pick you and chill with just you, I'm giving up a lot because I can be outside. So when I'm making that decision, I take that decision serious because I'm like, yo, I'm giving up outside to deal with you. And so that comes with a lot of risk.
I think that's important to know too. And I'm speaking as a 55-year-old woman who can say, now that I know the dynamic or understand the dynamic,
Mm.
it is very true.
Yeah.
Again, for one thing, on the strength of is more of us
Yeah.
than y'all. That's first thing.
Yeah.
Secondly, there are far as in this time in space, and no matter what age you are, there are women who are not wife material, if you will. So again, if a man chooses to give up that, it's not done lightly. It just isn't. Whereas at women, you know, we fall in love all the time.
Yeah.
We do, because we are feeling individuals. You know, our emotions drive a lot of our actions, where men, not so much. And I didn't really appreciate that. And again, it doesn't matter what age you are, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
So you better act like you know. You better act like you know. And ain't nobody saying, you know, just settle for anything. Ain't nobody saying that. But when you recognize that he's a good, that's why I wasn't playing. I had learned, it took me long enough. And that's why my mission, like I said, when Mr. Randolph goes to work, my mission is to make sure that he can't wait to get home to me, as opposed to can't wait to get away from me. So that brings me to another question. Another question. You're a truck driver. Have you found it difficult dating as a truck driver?
No, because I only do local.
Okay.
Yeah, with my babies, I got to be at the crib. So I started off, and I was with my first daughter's mom. So when I started off, I wasn't all over the place. I was just like L.A., Vegas, Arizona. So I would leave Monday and be back Friday. So it wasn't like, but I'm local. I'm home every night, So I'm easy life.
And that's another thing, ladies, because again, to your point, you said earlier that you could be making more money if you
Yeah,
wanted to go over the road, but what your priorities
yeah,
is your family. And
yeah.
again, that's one of the things I value about Mr. Randolph when that company went bankrupt and he was looking for something else, he like you, he took something that was paying a little less
Hmm.
to ensure that he was home every weekend.
Yeah, yeah. And
And yeah, and that was important to me.
I get military disability too, so that helps out too. So that takes away a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day, even with that though, like I said, if I hit the road, I could still make even more. But
Mhm.
it because I get that military disability, it puts me still kind of in the same bracket of a lot of these guys that are driving that far. So that's a big help as well.
Well, the reason why I asked it because you said, like Trill kind of said, once you get domesticated, the women start picking things apart.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it's funny to me because again, before he met me and he was with somebody else,
Hmm.
he said that at first when they were dating, everything was great, but then when they got, really committed, she wanted to nitpick that he was gone all the time.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, she knew you was a truck driver when y'all started dating, didn't she? She knew what your schedule was when y'all started dating, right?
It does not matter. I promise you, it
And,
doesn't.
and he said, yeah. I said, well, why would you think it would be different? Ace Butterfly is asking, do you desire marriage?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm currently, and I listen. I talk a lot of stuff about this space, but this is one thing that I did learn about this space that I'm doing now is I'm dating with intentions. I've never done that before. Whatever I dated, it was almost kind of like whatever happens, happens type of deal. But I'm giving myself a 2 year window to have one more kid. If I get outside at 2 years, I'm cool. But if I do have another kid, like we married, I'm not doing no more the baby mama thing. So um, I am trying to date with intention. I would say that. So I got one person. I'm like, we talking right now,
Mhm.
uh, but it's not like officially, you know. But yeah, I'm I'm dating with intention right now. Absolutely.
So, what are your thoughts about dating a woman with a child?
I ain't got no problem with that. That like so. Listen, I would say okay. So my first daughter, I dated her mom, and her mom had two kids. Um, what I will say is no, Ace Butterfly. I'm 40. Listen, I got 2 more years. I'm not after 42. Ain't nothing else coming up out of here. Um, um, what I was saying? Oh, so hold on, I lost my train of thought. What was you talking about?
Yeah. Okay, dating with intention. I said, what? Oh, would you date a woman with children? That's what I asked.
Oh, so that's one thing in this space I think is goofy.
Okay.
Um, I'm not one to tell people. I'm not gonna act like that's like that should be your preference, especially if you don't have kids. If you don't
Right.
have kids, I'm not gonna sit here and go, "Oh yeah, go date a chick with kids." I was an idiot. Like I said, you showed my baby. I love my baby to death. That little girl probably should be here. Let me explain. That was based off of pure machismo.
Okay.
Uh, I started dating her mom. Well, I started talking to her mom, and her mom, baby dad, was like a known street dude.
Okay.
And so, like I said, I come from a certain place, but I don't carry myself that way. So a lot of people look at me, they don't look at me like that way. Or whatever. And so uh, I guess what this dude was doing was whenever she would get a boyfriend, he would come and, big bad wolf type of thing and run him off.
Okay.
I'm chin up, chest out. You ain't running shit off over here. So you know what I'm saying. So we kicking it. You feel me? He came and did his big bad wolf thing. You feel me? And I'm like, ain't scaring none of it. And mind you, like this a dangerous cat. Like this ain't like no like faking it. Like this a dude that he beat some serious charges. I just put it like
Hmm.
that. I want to put his
Okay.
business out there. But he beat some serious shit. And he had a name that rings bells around the city. So he was like a serious cat or whatever. But again, like I said, the cats that I grew up with was just as so that doesn't scare me. Like I grew up around that. It is what it is. But yeah, so it just became basically like a you ain't running me off type of deal. And then I ended up kicking it with her. I was 29, I ain't had no kids. She had two kids. I now that I look back on it, again, I don't regret my baby. I love my baby to death. But now I look back, I'm like, I had no business dealing with that shit. Like at all.
Okay.
And mind you, I have no issues with her. Me and her is good, solid, yada, yada. So it's nothing personal against her. I'm just saying
Right.
in that situation, 29, no kids, I should have been like out here trying to get this money, you know, saying yada 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 type shit. But again, if I didn't have her, who knows where I would have been? Because like I said, once I had her, you know, my mind kind of it calmed me down from a lot of stuff that I. Oh, I get that Ace Butterfly. So from my situation personally, I don't have any issues as far as with any of my kids' moms and stuff. I do understand that it still will have an effect or whatever, but as far as with me and their moms, we try to raise them in the healthiest environment possible. So there is no screaming, arguments, hollering, nothing like that. Ain't no child support. Ain't no, no none of the craziness that people deal with the baby mama, baby daddy situation. It's when I date a woman and she asks about that situation, there's literally no drama at all.
And that's good. You know, my nephew who one of the things I admire about my nephew's children's mother, because he has two sons by two different women.
Mm-hmm.
And they are friends now. Initially, I mean, obviously they weren't at first, but they are cool and they make sure those boys get together on a regular basis. And that is what is important.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna get to that. I don't know if it's gonna get to that because they aren't exactly each other's favorite. But what I will say though is, but they don't let that go to the kids. So
Right.
um, with the kids, they're like my youngest, she treats my oldest as if it's hers, and then her mom treats my youngest. You know, they get gifts on their birthdays, Christmas, all that stuff. So as far as with the kids, there's no smoke or whatever. And even them
And that's
two,
good.
they don't like each other. They just stay away from each other. But it's not
And that's
no
good.
talking shit about each other, nothing like that.
Because the same thing, I have two brothers by my dad, and we never call each other half brothers, my two brothers. But the same thing, their mom loved me like I was her own,
Yeah, yeah,
even though, I wasn't. So that's very important again. And so this whole concept of single motherhood and single fathers not being together, that's new. It just, it's again, like you said, when you take this pill and come to YouTube, it's like
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just you're demonized.
so I think another part of it too is look, I'm gonna keep it a book with you. When I grew up, everybody that was really like a player, you ended up with a baby mama. I'm not saying this to be like putting it out there as if like that was the thing to do.
Kind of like
I'm
now.
not saying it, but it's just what happened. And when you look back on it, it really makes sense as far as like um, if you're 19 and females is choosing up on you, you ain't got the maturity to be like, hey, I should nah, you out there. You feel me? So yeah, most dudes that and mind you, I was out there. I was condoms. My dad had that conversation with me. I watched my older brother and sister and them have kids and the lifestyle that they had to live. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool. I was a self aware person that look, I'm
Mhm.
selfish. I like to go to the store for me and only me, so I'm not ready to have kids type of deal. And so I
Right.
did. So I remember I was in the military. They used to tease me because even with my girlfriend, I used condoms. They was like, with your babe, with your old lady. I'm like, yeah. Mind you, all of these schools got baby mamas in other states now because of that.
Wow.
But So no. So what I will say is, so I think what you're looking at when you in this space is a lot of the cats that one wasn't necessarily didn't have those type of options and were
Mhm.
turned down by a lot of these women that are baby mamas now. And so in this space, a lot of this is like revenge on those women
Yeah.
that didn't choose them type of deal. And I think
Yeah.
that's why you look at some of these panels and they're so comfortable just attacking these women and why it's so visceral when they attack them. Because it's
Mm.
and I don't want to sound like the females like who hurt you, but I'm be honest with you, it be looking like that sometimes. Like, bruh, like I tell people this. Like, I went on TikTok and I
Mhm.
was looking at these cats on TikTok, and I'm like, damn, big dog. Like, I agree with some of the posts y'all making, but y'all dudes is hurt. Like, no, I'm dead. Like, if you ever go to TikTok, I don't know how you end up in that algorithm, but I ended up in the algorithm. It's almost like the phone could read my brain because it was right when me and they mom was going through it. But like it's like that algorithm came to me, and I'm just looking at the things like, God, like y'all dudes is hurt, man. They oh, if a woman does this, I'm just and like I said, I like feel it, but like where I'm from, like you chin up, chest up, like you take that on the chin and you keep it moving. You don't soak on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's interesting you say that because I've shown my husband some of the different things on YouTube and TikTok and some of the conversations. And it's funny because it kind of goes to something that you said earlier. My husband said, he said that sounds like they were raised by women.
yeah, yeah. Listen, the first thing my pops would have told me if I was over there soaking about some chickens, man, get your ass up and woo woo. You feel me? And not to say that I shouldn't feel the emotion of it or whatever,
Right.
but bruh, you about to walk around and just hate women your whole life? Like listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that's not an option for me. That's why whenever they talk about this gender war, I'm like, I'll never participate in a gender war because women will never be my enemy. Ever.
Mm.
But that's just from my experience because I ain't had the experience that would warrant me to just hate women that much that they would be my enemy. So
It's funny because I said that if you're in this space now, the vitriol and the contempt that some men have toward women is the same vitriol and contempt that women had 10, 15 years ago toward men. It's reversed. When because women
but
would say ain't no good men, and now you hear men saying ain't no good women.
but you ain't supposed to you ain't supposed to act like a woman.
True.
That listen, I'm gonna tell you like all right, so I got a homeboy, my best friend, and he was raised by his mom, and so he's married and stuff. And so I'll be having to chop it a hit with him sometimes. Like he'd be like, "Oh, she came here and did this, and this," and then when I do it, she gonna get mad. And excuse my French, but I'm like, "So you want to act like a B word?" And he's like, "What you mean by that?" I'm like, "We men, we don't do what women do. Like I don't think you understand that. Like I expect women to act a certain way because, like we explained earlier, women act off emotion."
Mm-hmm.
But when I come in here and I see you in here rolling your eyes and like I'm looking at you like, bruh, there's a woman in here. You feel me? Like that's not how we operate. You know what I'm saying? So um yeah, it's I think that is a lot of what we see is a lot of these cats that I mean maybe that is what it is. That I never thought about it that way, but it could be. But yeah, it's like for us, man, you take it on the chin and you keep it moving. It hurt. I ain't gonna act like it don't hurt. I ain't gonna act like, you know what I'm saying, you ain't never, you know what I'm saying, drop some tears because this and happened. But what I'm not about to do is like be out in public with a megaphone. Oh, women this or women that. Like, I can't do it, big dog. I can't do it.
Okay, so we got, I think, Shanelica is asking a question here.
So look, I'm gonna tell you like this, Chanelica. I think Kevin Samuels has started this age thing, and um, I don't think regular people do that. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Like, he did it for a purpose. As far as like his purpose was, if you get a certain age, you know, the geriatric, the wall, the geriatric pregnancies, yada yada yada. I think that some of this stuff I agree with. Some of the stuff I'm like, nah. Some of that ages I agree with. Some of them like nah. I think at 26, you still got a good amount of time to get your stuff together, whatever like that. I mean, I've seen plenty of women, 35 to 40 have kids. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not necessarily like promoting because I don't know the physicals about that or whatever. I'm not a doctor, but in a man, um, I just so one thing about me is I had my kids when I was financially good. So a lot of people would ask me. So this is the funny thing. I would have conversations with people who had their kids early, and so whenever I had my kids, they would be like, "Damn, is it hard?" And I'm like, "No, not really." And they'd be like, "For real?" And then they would be talking about how hard it was for them. But then I had to think about it and go, "Yeah, because you had your kid at 19. By the time I had my kid, I was making 80,000 a year.
Mm,
You
mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Big
So
difference. Yeah, big
for
difference.
me, diapers wasn't hard. You know what I'm saying? Getting clothes wasn't hard. Go get some clothes. It was whatever, But when you 19 and you still trying to figure out a career and this, that, and the other, it's a different experience. So I would say, as far as when a man get yourself in a solid position financially, and then you know what I'm saying, have your kids or whatever. It just makes life a lot easier and a lot less stressful. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's probably why I'm not sitting on your panel with gray hairs right now. Let me just be 100 with you.
There's another question for you, Tommy.
What does Tommy B think about his daughters dating a man like him? This could be good or bad, or having children out of wedlock. What's his desire for his daughters? And see, look, that's a hard question to answer because I know the bad I done done, so it's not fair. Um, but what I will say is when I did the bad, I was honest with it, and I tell people like this, like I never considered myself a player because I was always honest. Like I
Mhm.
think a player is somebody that plays around with women and you know get them under the illusion that they're going to be in a relationship and then do other things. One thing I always tell people is if I don't want to be in a relationship, I'm not going to be in a relationship. Because once I get in a relationship, I take it serious and I don't mess around. So when people be like, "Oh, have you cheated?" I'm gonna be like, "Nah." They be looking at me like, "Eh," and I'm like, "It's easy to me because if I don't feel like being with one person, I'm not like I get myself in relationships. I don't let women give me a relationship, and I explain to women when I'm talking to them like, it's going to be a day I'm gonna come to you, and I'm telling you this is exactly how I come to women. It's a day I'm gonna come to you, and I'm gonna tell you, hey, tell your little friends to go because it's just gonna be me and you. And of course, every single time the women go, my friends, who are you talking about? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gullible enough to think that if we're talking um, and we're not
Exclusive.
exclusive, that you ain't out there, what I'm saying, in the field. Now, am I saying that you got to necessarily be like banging all of them or something like that? Nah, but look, I date attractive women. You're gonna have dudes on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not stupid. So I give them that talk, and if they most of the time they with it or whatever. No, I'm saying that because I'm not gonna ask you a question if I think you might possibly say no. Like
Right.
I'm gonna know the energy of the relationship, and then I'm gonna be like, you feel me? Just so we can lock that down. But what I'm saying is, I'm not gonna have that. I'm gonna get to you, Ace Butterfly. I'm not gonna have that conversation unless um, that standard was set. Now, to answer her question, I would like my daughter to date somebody how I am now. And I would say now because of the stuff that I learned from being younger. Um, so, what I would teach my daughter if I was to tell her to date somebody like me now is date somebody with intention. I swear to God, that's one of the biggest things I've learned from this space is I never dated a woman. Well, because I ain't gonna lie to you, for a long time I wasn't trying to get married anyway. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm dating too. But when I got to the age where I was thinking about it, I still went with the same mindset of, oh, if it happened type of deal. And so I liken it to a trip. I tell people all the time, if you want to go on a trip, you better set a date. Because if you don't set
Hmm.
a date, you'll never go on that trip. It is just always something to always happen. But if you set a date and start buying stuff to go on that trip, then it's more than likely going to happen. So the same way I'm looking at this intention thing, like if I'm dating you intentionally, I'm going, look, if I date you I'm looking to within a year be headed towards marriage. Then within a year, the pressure's on me to be having this headed towards marriage, or this ain't even no point of us doing this anymore. And I personally feel like if I had done that earlier in my life, I would be married already. Um, so I would say the older me, absolutely, I would want my daughter to date somebody like me. But the younger me, probably not, because I was kind of confused and kind of out there. And then, one of the biggest things I tell a lot of people is once you get to the age that your parents was when they was raising you, you come to find out that damn, they didn't know shit either. It's
Yep.
one of the most humbling experiences ever. I got around with some of my cousins, and I'm like, bro, do y'all realize we the same age as our parents was there raising us? And we look around like, damn, we is, huh? And I'll be like, man, we don't know shit. Like, it's insane. So, as a kid, when you look to your parents, you
They knew
naturally
everything. They knew everything.
exactly. So when you get to that age, it's either A, I'm an idiot, or B, I gave them way too much credit. And I'm at this age and I'm still trying to learn stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel
it
that way when my daughter be telling me stuff. I'm like, who's the parent? Because
and
she be coming like, I mean, you all when you come to the realization that your parents didn't know as much as you thought they did.
exactly. And I'm gonna answer the second part. Of course I would not recommend them having children out of wedlock. And to be honest with you, my desire for my daughters, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, is to follow their auntie's footsteps. My dad was so lucky with my sister. I was so lucky with my sister that I ain't had to put no hands on nobody. My sister in her lifetime, I think they had three boyfriends and got married. That's it. Ain't never had to deal with no dope boys. Ain't never had to deal with no dumb. Well, it was one dummy she had to deal with, and thank God I was in the military. That could have went down. But just probably three at most four boyfriends in her whole life, and she's what a year younger than me, and got married. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my desire is for them to go through that with her. My sister was a virgin till after 18. Like all this. Like my sister is what I was supposed to be, but I
Boys
had
are different. Boys are different.
yeah.
Okay, last question.
Uh,
Last question. Would you or have you dated a woman that makes more money than you? And if so, do you think it played a factor in the relationship?
I have, and so okay, it's weird. So I dated her when I was in the military, and then we broke up, and then we actually recently started dating
Mhm.
after me and my kids' mom. And this is when she started making more money because I think she made like 250, 300. Like she up there. She doing good. Um, but so our dynamic, we had a conversation, and listen, this is one thing that I will not ever fight women on is their preference. Like if you have a preference, more power to you. If I don't agree with it, I'm not gonna scream and yell at you, whatever. Um, it is what it is. So we ended up having a discussion about the whole leadership thing. She started leaning towards partnership. I'm like, I think you thought there was a question mark at the end of that sentence. There was an exclamation point, baby. I wasn't asking you nothing. And so yeah, so after we had that agreement, again, it was no use to going back and forth and arguing with her. I felt bad, and
Mhm.
I ain't gonna lie to you, she calling my phone to this day. So I mean, it is what it is. And again, that I mean, for me, that's a standard that has to be set in the beginning. And I say that again from experience because I have been in a relationship where I didn't stand on my square and I didn't set the standard in the beginning and it went bad. Like the respect is off. It's just it's bad. That's why when I started this thing up, I said this that's you gotta stand on your square. And I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing that a lot of guys mess up with, and it's a lot of women too, is you liking somebody too much to let them go. And
Yes.
once you get to that point, you get yourself in trouble.
You
And
compromise too much.
100%. And
Compromise because there is compromise, but you
yeah,
compromise your core values of what you believe.
exactly.
That's
And then that's why I said you gotta have principles that you stand on.
mm-hmm.
And it's too many people they got principles that is too they flimsy with it. And it's like, nah, this is what I'm standing on. So the conversation with her, I'm telling her, now mind you, we had a full fledged discussion about this. And I even told her, like, I'm like she's into the church heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, even your Bible's telling you this. She fight the Bible. Look, I'm gonna tell
Okay.
you this straight up. If you're gonna argue with God, who am I?
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
I ain't gonna lie to you, that right there basically was like the beginning of the end of the relationship. Because I'm like, dog, if you gonna argue, and mind you, I wasn't even heavy in the church then, but I'm like, if you gonna argue with the dude that you call your father, that you go to church for, that you pray to every day, who am I? You trying to find scriptures to go against it? You argue, hey, dog, I didn't make the rules, he did. Period, point blank. So if that's what you can't abide by, we could be friends. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't gonna work. I ain't about to compromise. That's out. So
And here's what I'll say about this partnership things, ladies. You know, and when you think of partnership, think about, law practices, accounting firms, PR firms, they're partners, but there are senior partners, there are junior partners. I am a partner with Mr. Randolph, but guess what? He's the senior partner and I'm the junior partner. And so what that means as a junior partner, I have say so in certain things, but he as the senior partner, if we can't come to an agreement as a senior partner, he makes the decision. And guess what? Technically, I bring in more money, but guess what? He's the senior partner up in here. That's it.
it's you could so I'm a sports dude, so I like it at the sports. You know what I'm saying? The
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, he runs the show. Whether you make more money or not, he runs the show. Or I even take a bit even better than that. The coach,
Right.
Patrick Mahomes makes way more money than Andy Reid.
Hmm.
Andy Reid is making the decisions on that team. He's calling the plays. You know what I'm saying? And again, he'll talk to him. He'll get advice from Patrick Mahomes. He'll
Mm-hmm.
get suggestions, and he'll even go with some of that. But when the decision is ultimately made, it's going to be made by the coach. And my dad was real good at explaining that to me as far as like how he did that with my mom, as far as like delegating power. So, perfect example he used for me is like when they moved to the suburbs. He said, "I picked out the house." He said, "Whatever house was going, I was going to be the one to pick that out. But everything on the inside, I let her pick. You want this bed? Okay, we got that bed. You want this furniture set? Okay, we get that furniture." Like that was how he leveraged it to where it's not. This isn't a dictatorship, but at the same time, like you said, if there's a decision to be made, mine will overrule yours, and it's not a disrespect thing because if this thing fails, I take it differently than you, and a large part of that is because us as men, if you were raised the right way, we take accountability. Whereas most women, again, not knocking, but accountability ain't their strongest suit. So, um, yeah. So if this goes bad or whatever, I'm gonna take the accountability for it. And again, most men, again, if raised right, they're solution based. So now when this goes down, okay, how we gonna fix this? Woo woo. It's not. I don't have time for this to go down, and now I'm crying and oh my god, this happened. Nah, okay, this went left. Okay, boom. How we gonna fix this? Yada yada yada. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's how it goes. So that's why that's why I move that way or whatever. And I don't ask people to agree with it. I'm just like, this is what it is. And if that ain't what you believe, I ain't got a beef with you. Cool. Straight up. You believe that? Okay, cool. And then you go your way, I go my way. We can still be friends and everything. And I'll take that even back to this space. I think a lot of people need to get that kind of understanding in this space. If you don't agree, it doesn't mean you have to hate that person, dislike that person. Oh, you believe that? Okay, cool. I don't believe that. All right, cool. and you just move on. I don't gotta agree with everybody. That's why I just don't understand that about the space for nothing. It's just like everybody thinks that everybody got to agree with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that's weak to me. You on mute. You on mute.
It's in this space. It's not like that in real life because
Yeah.
again, that's where conflict resolution comes in, and you
Well,
have to employ that.
listen, Auntie. In real life, I'm 6'4".
Oh.
These discussions don't go a certain way in real life, and that's not to say I'm the biggest bad nothing like that, but I haven't had a lot of arguments in real life that's gotten that passionate. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So yeah, in real life, it's just a little different.
Well, I put your channel in the chat. Are you going to be
Okay.
uploading anything soon or what?
Oh, I'm gonna try. Like
I know you got your hands full, Dad.
well, it's not even that. It's how this space goes. I'm trying to adjust mentally to the space because I'm not like I didn't go through this type of stuff in high school. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like I'm
Okay.
grown and y'all
That's
doing
sick.
this. This is weird to me. So, but no, what I will say though is my lovely daughter then been over here messing with my desk. She done messed up my mixer, my mic, so and then my lights and stuff. So I got to get my whole little setup back. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna try to buy this summer, try to have things up and going. I think I'm gonna start with my sports channel because I don't think people beefing in the sports sector.
No, not too not
You
too
know what I'm
heavy.
saying?
You got your
So
cigar and your cognac talking about the
you
game
feel
or
me?
whatsoever.
So I mean, we might beef, but it's gonna be over the sports, and that's
Right,
only gonna go. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
so I think I'm gonna start back up on my sports thing, and then the more when I get comfortable with that, I might start going more to. Uh, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe like talking about like being a reform player. That's hilarious. um, uh, I might try to like start like covering like current events and stuff because I think the relationship thing is watered down. I think I might have a different angle on talking about it, so I'm going back and forth on it. But and to be honest with you, what I might end up doing if I end up with like a girl or something is might trying to do one with her. That's
That's
what I'm
good
thinking.
because sometimes me and Mr. Randolph we do some lives together and even
Yeah.
people can call in because I realize even though we got together late,
Mhm.
the dating dynamic is still different
Yeah.
from my age to your age,
Yeah.
even though it's still there's some similarities in the
Yeah.
sense of social media and all that because I am tripping by I see some of these women that are in their 60s on social media showing their stuff. I'm like, what?
Listen, it the 60 now is not the 60 I grew up with. I
It
remember
is
60 when I grew up.
disgusting.
It was
I'm
a
like,
whole
they
lot.
gyrating and stuff and got
Listen,
their boobs out. I'm like,
when we grew up, 60 was a whole lot of moo-moos.
and I still have some. I'm
I
not the
ain't, I ain't
it's
seen a 60-year-old in a moo-moo in I don't know how long.
it is, I mean, it is
I'm fine.
unbelievable. So it would be good if you are,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
intended, do some discussions together. Um, but any last words before I drop you down? Because I got a fabulous weekend scheduled for this. We got a class all school reunion, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
Mhm.
I appreciate you having me up here. Hey, I ain't even know looking at my daughter's gonna have me all leaking and stuff. That's my baby though. um, but no, I appreciate you having me up here. Like I said, I just try to stay out the way. You know what I'm saying? If anybody got any questions, I'll be around. I'm pretty open about most of the stuff in my life. I'm pretty transparent. I'm not a talking points guy, as y'all might have seen in this interview. Everything I pretty much try to talk about comes from experience. I don't try to talk about stuff I don't know. So, if you hear a conversation about marriage, Tommy B won't be in there because I ain't got experience in that. I think that's another big thing in this space is people speaking on stuff they ain't got experience in.
Mm.
Um, so, yeah, I just I would just like I said, I appreciate you having me up here. I appreciate the conversation. This was real nice, real nice. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate the example that you set. And again, that's what led me to want to talk with you. I appreciate your work ethic. I appreciate your principles. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your parenting. You are the young man that women we say we want.
Yeah.
So if this is what we say we want, what the problem is, ladies? And he's easy on the eyes. And he tall. What's wrong with you?
I'll try.
Y'all better get growed real and quit playing. Get growed real. So I put your IG in there. Thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. I'm going, because shout out to Truth. He said clip it. So you have given me some clippable moments. So I'm going to clip some stuff and put it out there. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much. And go take care of the babies. I mean, that is really
Oh, she sleep. I'm about to have some peace right there. You hear me? I'm going to kick my feet up. I had to go lay her down right quick. Shoot.
I love it. Well, thanks, Tommy, for coming through. I appreciate you. Take care now.
All right, you too.
Bye. I truly enjoyed that. I truly, truly enjoyed that. He is, the kind of man that my daughter married. And again, by his own admission, he hasn't done everything perfect, but he learned. And like he said, he would want his daughter to marry a man like he is now. So he knows what is required. So I'm glad I decided to talk with him. So anyway, thank y'all for stopping by. I appreciate it. Follow Tommy on his YouTube channel, Convo and Chill with Tommy B. He said he's going to be uploading some things probably around the summer. It's not too far. It's just around the corner. Also follow him on IG. I put his IG in there as well. And I don't think I have anything else. Okay. Thank you all for coming through. I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. So until next time, ciao for now.
Said I got a story to tell. You don't hear me. Said I got a story about a girl. Yeah. Check. See, I've been up all night typing this love letter. Hoping you open the message saying I love you better. You've been keeping me on red. I know I'm out the picture. Ain't nothing worse than the wave. Just a request. I sliding on a nigga wave like a drop by. Saw you out, so I figured out I'd say hi. Ain't no pressure, just want a good time. Something wicked to share up on a timeline. She's my type of girl. Magic carpet around the world. She'll show you things that you can't imagine. Straight hair or fancy curl, bright as diamonds, clutch as pearls. She's my one and only digital girl. My sunshine in the rain. Sunshine in the rain. My sunshine in the rain. Oh, my. My sunshine in the rain. My sunshine in the rain.
First we outside, you beaming your light, giving me shades of dope. Now I'm walking in pools of water, my Yeezy. So you had a faith that get Jesus hope, but the devil is pleased. I'm on my knees, I intercede for our peace. Girl, your love is an antidote. Body like a goddess, your beauty on displays in the finest museums. You shining like discos, but who knew that through the fire hard to grow this froze? Don't wrap your envelope, baby, let's disclose. I don't beat around bushes, no babe, I don't tiptoes. Not a ballerina, but I see balances drop jaws from your spoken words that rain dancing in tip jars. I applaud you, but these problems we face feeling so colossal. You push shovels with dirt, digging in my fossils. Every hurt I try and fix, you say I scarred you. I've dropped dimes before, don't tell me that I lost you. It's two sides to every coin, and every road's gonna have its thorns. I'm clenching these stems, my palms bleed. Maybe your rain can rinse these stains from these leaves, cause I still need my sunshine in the rain. My sunshine in the rain. Sunshine, my sunshine in the rain. Yeah. My sunshine in the rain.